that is none other than a world record 300 million euro bid made and accepted for Kylian Mbappe.
1 million versus 300 million.
300 million or 259 million pounds, however you want to look at it. I don't know in dollars.
Yes.
Regardless, it is a ridiculous amount. But not only that, that they're offering him over 700 million euros for 1 year in AL-Hilal. And I don't understand why 1 year, but
I don't understand how this works at all. It doesn't even make any sense.
Honestly. Well, I mean, there's a lot of things that, like, there's a lot of reasons of why you should. I mean, we know Saudi Arabia don't get along with Qatar. But at the end of the day, this is business.
That's the one that just is like, this doesn't make sense. How does this even work?
At the end of the day, this is business. I mean, they're willing to also listen to Real Madrid, which they don't get along at all. But this is more than football, of course. And I get that. But at the end of the day, if they don't do something now, he'll walk free. In 300 million, and that's way more than what they would have, hoped for from Real Madrid. So it is pretty crazy. And I'm gonna tell you this. And then I'll hear your take on it. But if there's one guy that will probably do it and accept it, is him. I mean, even though he wants to go to Real Madrid, but if you're telling me I'm only going for 1 year, you're paying me all this, and I'm free and I can go to Real Madrid, I'm telling you, man, I don't know if he'll say no. That's a lot of money. This is a 1.1 billion operation.
I hear what we're saying. There's just some things that don't pass the smell test for me. One is that first step. So let's break it down. And one is that first piece of just like, hey, this Qatar and Saudi Arabia as partners and mixing on this. These are countries that they literally call this the Arab Cold War. I mean, this is serious. This is not a joke. They fight about everything from broadcast rights, people stealing shows that they buy, to BN, to Al Jazeera. There's a lot of stuff going on, support of Yemeni war. So there's a political piece to this. I don't claim to understand all of it. All I'm saying is it's got to be taken into effect of just like Qatar owns PSG and PIF owns several teams within the Saudi League. So that's one piece. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Two is, the second piece is there's no agreed terms from Mbappe. Mbappe has not even talked to the Arab teams yet. This is PSG reportedly saying yes to this money, right? So PSG is saying, give me money. And we have a contract. Right. They have the contract, but now there's the next piece, which is the personal rights. 3, usually it's done the other way around. You sign the player then goes to the team and says, please let me move. I have a contract. That tears up the contract with the team. You move on and you increase the money from wherever. So right now, AL-Hilal basically has purchased or is trying to purchase the contract from PSG. That contract is the $1 million, is the 1 year contract that he has today. And then they're saying, when you come, we will tear up your 1 year and you will sign a 5-year deal for whatever, or 1 year or whatever, right? Because this makes no sense unless Mbappe is going to sign a multi-year deal. Otherwise, why would you do it?
Well, I mean, they have the money to just say, screw it. We're going to gain all this money in 1 year of marketing. It's going to grow our league. I mean, it could have some reasons, and also the fact that they have the money to just spend it / throw it away. I mean, they do. I mean, they're worth 500 billion. Or something around that figure, but so I mean, I don't think any other club in the world could do this, honestly, or could afford.
No league in the world right now could do this. It doesn't feel real. I guess, in some sense, the other clubs around Europe are probably going, this is how it feels, Premier League, when you guys start flexing and throwing $100 million contracts around. You like how it feels? This sucks. Right? So there's that, right? This is the year of the Saudi, and we have to find out whether this is real or not. We had this for a few years with China when she said he was interested in making football the biggest sport in China, and it didn't quite work because the league was corrupt. Fundamentally, they would throw matches, guys would throw games. It was bad, and they had to like close it down. The betting wasn't, and then COVID was a disaster, and no one could get out of there. So we have that precedent, and then we have this first time with the Saudi league, and getting Mbappe would do a couple of things that I think about, which is it destroys Mbappe's young part of his career legacy, right? Like he's not in the Champions League. He doesn't get to go in the footsteps of Ronaldo. He doesn't go in the footsteps of Messi. He's of the Champions League. He's in a completely another league that is not connected to Europe at all. And that will be a minimum of a year. Okay, so that's that. Like, is he willing to do that at 24 years old with a shirt sponsorship from Nike? That he has a personal sponsorship. Is that market big enough? Can the Saudi Arabia be like, no, we can market you globally. No, we can do this globally, when we already know that UEFA and what's happened at PSG with Brand Jordan, we already know that that's there. We already know the power of the Premier League. We already know the power of Real Madrid, what they can do in terms of lifting a player up, lifting up a league. This is really a moment, and I think this is probably the more interesting piece about it from a business perspective, or the way I think about it, is this is a moment to think about whether player brands are more powerful than league brands. This is an inflection point. Like, I think this is the moment, right? Like, Ronaldo was washed up. Benzema was never that big of a individual national brand. This will be a moment that we can go, can an individual player really change a league? This will be Beckham to MLS at a bigger scale.
Yeah, I mean, probably more. I mean, it's unprecedented of a player this in his prime going
young
to
and this good. Yeah,
a minor league. I mean, you're talking about probably
more than minor. This is nothing. It's a backwater.
Yeah. I mean, you have Ronaldo and Mbappe. I guess you have Benzema, but at the end of the day, what I'm saying is like the faces of your league, and I just don't know that it certainly wouldn't be good for his career. But if it's just 1 year, I mean,
that's different. I hear you. If it's just 1 year, fine.
I don't think he would sign a longer contract. And the reason why he's not going to Real Madrid at this moment is simply, well, not just that reason, but one of the
Real Madrid doesn't want to pay.
And he doesn't want to leave $250 million on the table, which is what he's going to earn at the end of next season as a free agent. And if you offer him twice and more, I mean, I just don't actually. I just don't know how he says no. If that's because he is influenced by his mom, who represents him. I know that somebody disagrees with that.
Yeah, that's a big family thing. I think the question is, the other question is like, at this point, the money matters, and it's an insane amount of money, but it's really hard to walk away from there's like 7 levels of branding, right? To move out of brand Europe, out of brand Real Madrid, out of brand UEFA, out of brand Champions League. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's really exiting the known, for lack of a better word, the known football world. Like, this becomes a referendum on what does it mean? Can Europe, and I know this sounds existential and I'm going to sound crazy, can Europe survive as a football center if this happens in the long run?
Honestly,
these are big brand questions, right? Like, what does it really mean? Like, on the existential big level. I mean, I know I'm crazy, but this is
I mean, it is it is true though, because a lot like UEFA is going to have some meetings if this happens, because there was never a competition when it comes to world
like
football.
This. No,
and honestly, there still isn't if you're talking about quality, but money is a big thing. And when you talk about this,
and they're all corrupt, right? We're talking about a level of corruption that world football has that is just, and so that is beyond. I mean, beyond our comprehension. Right?